Hello everyone, welcome to the Olimoleague number 66, going on to past a year and maybe even into half a year soon. But of course, this is the new updated version. Oh right, was the transparency never fixed? Why do we look like this? This is odd. Anyway, well, figure that out later.
Hashtag zombie girl production.
Yeah, right? I actually don't know why we have like a filter on us. I guess I didn't notice this when I was testing it on the webcam.
Oh, yeah, that was something that I just told Olivia that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna remove the filter, and she was like, what filter? And I'm like, don't worry about it.
Did you just go and like Photoshop
I
and do it?
photoshopped it.
Okay,
Yeah, I can send you the file, and you can just swap it in, whatever.
Yeah, please. As opposed to me doing it on the fly.
Do it live.
Right? So, okay, we'll get that fixed. So we have kind of like retro right now, I suppose. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. Here at the Olimoleague, we do have our first match already chosen. It's going to be AsWell versus PiLiPiLi. And I actually can get right into it because they're already ready. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for those who don't know, by the way, AsWell is a Chinese Protoss player who also goes by a few other names, including, I guess, formerly known as Rush Crazy. And a couple other names. That's at least what I've been able to find on Olimoleague, but apparently a pretty decently rated player in China. Is rank 14th in China according to Olimoleague, and is taking some games off some good Chinese players, so should be an interesting series.
Yeah. Should not just be a walkover for PvP, which I was worried about, as you always do, in these beginning rounds.
I don't know. This PiLiPiLi has been knocking out more than just top Chinese Protoss players. He's been knocking out, like, good Koreans, too.
I guess, yeah, but this is a lot of the times the first round is like, Grandmaster versus like Diamond. Okay, so this is still gonna be better than that. But of course, we really chose this match because if PiLiPiLi wins and Alive wins his match, then it'll be a rematch of PiLiPiLi Alive. So that's kind of what I was going for, but that might not happen. I don't know. Now the top left. Speaking of him, it is the blue Protoss, PiLiPiLi.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the green Protoss player. Give it up for the Chinese, AsWell.
I guess I didn't...
I feel like Rush Crazy is a cooler name than AsWell.
I did not change these.
He's also representing Invictus Gaming.
Why was I playing on the Korean server?
Because the Olimoleague happens on the Korean server.
No, when was I playing on the Korean server? Like, actually playing. Because all my settings were like I was playing. But
oh.
I guess I'm just crazy. Anyway, yeah, so PvP. Also, I guess I should have expected that because Olivier does a wonderful job as an admin and creator of the Olimoleague and actually puts the race next to the person's name, but I guess AsWell was so long I didn't even notice that there was a P next to it. But that's pretty cool to start things off. I'm sure Fear Dragon's happy. Actually gets to use his Protoss knowledge.
Yeah. I was actually looking at a bunch of the other matches that were going on. I was like, hey, there's a lot of these like good TVZs and everything, but I'm really happy we hopped into a PvP. I love PvP. I think it's the coolest mirror matchup that exists.
Okay, calm down there, buddy. just hold on. And actually, speaking of the other matches, I suppose, we have actually soccer openers for both, which AsWell will scout, but not so much PiLiPiLi. No, PiLiPiLi not bothering to scout at all. There are a lot of really good signups today. There's a lot of, like, Korean names that I do not recognize, so I hope that... I actually be fine, I suppose, if they're rookies or if they're just the Korean, like, players, like, regular fan base joining up. Both are equally as cool, but of course we also have a lot of regulars, like Alive, Beyond, Mamuri, Natural from yesterday. Came back for this tournament, so I guess took a nap in between. Pretty cool tournament for today. This probe's gonna go chill out, I suppose. Soccer's
I wonder, yeah, I really do wonder if that's going to end up being any sort of like Proxy Dark Shrine or something like that. That is something that does happen in the matchup sometimes.
Yeah, that's for sure. Stalkers are, I guess, anticipating PvPiLis, but are not gonna stay on top of that ramp for that very second slight high ground vision advantage. PvP is not really pushing it either.
There's two different locations. There's like two different locations that you keep your stalkers in this matchup. You either keep it at the top of your ramp, in the case that you're expecting there's like adepts or something moving out, or sorry, your opponent, you're expecting stalkers, or you keep it by the brush expecting like the adepts, and then you try and like ambush them. Either way, like I think the stalker opening you really just want to do to like pick off early adepts, and then you can later use them if there's an oracle opening.
AsWell is just making more and more stalkers, it seems, whereas PiLiPiLi is like kind of on to better things. A Robo is on the way, a single sentry, and of course the Nexus are both taken at around the same time. AsWell is just being a lot more active on the map, and that started from the get-go with scouting with a probe. He's going to put a pylon down, and this will provide like those slow warp-ins, but still warp-ins. Like, it's going to be not an all-in or anything like that, but it will be maybe just enough to scare PiLiPiLi into over-defending. Or getting a couple of key units like a sentry pick-off.
Yeah, this is a really interesting push-in. I guess this can maybe try and take advantage of Protoss players like PiLiPiLi who try to make all these early sentries, but Photon Overcharge should be a really scary prospect. So there goes the first sentry, and that's a pretty expensive loss for PiLiPiLi this early on. If he has to use force fields as well as he does, that's also going to cut into the hallucination energy, which, by the way, PiLiPiLi still has seen absolutely nothing of AsWell except for these stalkers.
Yeah, so he, I mean, clearly wasn't expecting the number of stalkers, maybe hoping that AsWell was doing something similar to him, but I think he's already messed up the defense. He let the sentry go down, he let his stalkers take too much damage, and the pylon went down without really having a photon overcharge. It lasted like 4 seconds by the time his mothership core came over here. And this is already, like, you know, pretty bad. Now, another photon overcharge happens on the high ground, which is kind of clever, but a lot of these stalkers are like, they're definitely looking very tempting, and AsWell's going to continue the pressure with more stalkers.
Yeah, I feel like PiLiPiLi should be okay once that Immortal pops, but he is certainly taking quite a bit of damage. Gonna lose 2 more of these stalkers most likely, or at least one of them. Losing more probes. Now, PiLiPiLi did have a pro lead for a little while, but now definitely fallen behind.
Yeah. And of course, the lost mining time as well. That Nexus is getting dangerously low. I mean, whatever he can, he's using this top pylon.
Wow.
But it really should have been one on the low ground immediately popped, scaring this away.
The Immortal is finally coming down the ramp, and that should be enough to push back this army just because the Immortal has so much firepower. But as you were saying, like, that Nexus got so low, he lost a lot of workers. This is... I don't know how heavy of an investment this was from AsWell. He still got up a Robo behind this. He's getting up Resonating Glaives. Probably needs to try and get up his gas guys of the natural and everything. But I really do feel like AsWell's in a good place to transition.
Yeah, well, the third base is going to come down here. So, I mean...
Oh, wow.
He will fall behind on the Immortal count for sure. And there's an interesting, like, I guess, sacrifice to do that attack. But now he's starting the Immortal production. There we go. But certainly they got much faster third base. This won't actually benefit him for a while. Obviously, he has to finish. He can get the probes over there. And that might give PiLiPiLi an opportunity to use his higher Immortal advantage, for instance. But I don't know, because I feel like recently, you know, once upon a time, it was like Blink, Stalker, Disruptor. And then, of course, you had to start with a couple of Immortals. And some people... you know, got up to, you know, 3 or maybe 5, like, blah, blah, blah. But it's more and more going into, like, Resonating Glaives and lots of Adepts. And that's it. That all seems to be doing actually pretty damn well. You know, I saw in Pro League and seeing it in, like, the Ord Civil War sometimes, but not often. Especially when there's so many Immortals, and that is, like, your main fear. I can see why Blink Stalkers aren't exactly, like, the super best. That's not what AsWell went for. He has yet to warp in those Adepts, though, yet. There's, like, 1.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly as you're saying, like, the Adept warp-ins haven't really started happening in mass just yet, and that is going to be the scary moment, as Resonating Glaives has finished up, but PiLiPiLi does kind of have this nice little timing window where he can try and put the pressure on. The big thing about the Adepts is that you can try and keep your opponent at home with them, but also, like, it does well as the armies get larger before Disruptors come out, but in small numbers, I think that having, like, those Immortals is going to be way more valuable than having a large number of Adepts.
Ooh, this is dangerous for both parties. I mean, the War Prism filled with units is dangerous to lose, but so many Stalkers out of position is also dangerous. Of course, he has Force Fields he's depending on for the ramp, but that's still, like, you know, there's been a couple of games where the Force Fields are missed and things collapse from there. But it looks like everything's okay. PiLiPiLi will not find a hole in AsWell's defense, so well done. I do feel like, you know, Chinese Protoss, or Chinese players, sorry, just in general, although there do seem to be a lot of Protoss that get famous from the Chinese server, I feel like they are, and maybe that's because there are so many Protoss, I'm actually not sure, maybe it's like a European ZVZ thing, but I feel like PvP has always been something they're really good at. So I don't know, like, I don't know how he's going to participate or play in the rest of the tournaments, but he's looking pretty good against PiLiPiLi here.
Yeah, PvP has always been one of those matchups that's very heavily relied on information gathering, information denial, which I think Chinese players have gotten very good at with their sort of weird and wonky styles. I feel like that's been an important part of their playstyle.
Yeah.
But we do have a big push out over here. AsWell going to try and get some damage done. PiLiPiLi has a lot of force fields, and that is not to be neglected. Yeah, having a lot of adepts is nice, but those immortals won't be able to get into the fight. The stalkers won't be able to get into the fight if PiLiPiLi can get some good force fields off, and vice versa.
6 probes went down to the War Prism harassment. War Prism got out. Not the biggest deal, but, you know, AsWell, I guess he's about to transfer his probes anyway. I guess he's not bad on 48 probes, but here comes the engagement.
Oh.
No, a lot of force fields that are very odd from both parties coming down. Okay, now it turns to a donut of these adepts for PvP. That was weird. It's like a heart.
It was like both of them working to force field in those adepts. Like PiLiPiLi's force fields also were hurting him in that situation, but Photon Overcharge is going to be really, really strong in this situation. I am actually very surprised that AsWell is taking this on right in front of all those Photon Overcharges.
I think he overestimated how big his adept clump looked, and then he didn't really consider the Photon Overcharges or, well, just the fact that PiLiPiLi really wasn't that far behind in army supply. So this ended up being maybe a questionable attack. AsWell isn't dead yet. Oh, it's a good thing Blink isn't available. Yeah, that would definitely be dead if there was Blink, but he's not dead yet. He did take, I think, too much damage.
Okay, this might be a little bit too much more than he can take.
Yeah, he has to pull the probes entirely, and he did need that third base up and running, so... I mean, it's been a great game up until the actual fight, where he definitely overcommitted, and I'm guessing hindsight's 2020 right now for him, and he's like, oh shit, like I should not have thrown the game like that, but that certainly happens, and he's dead.
Yeah, it really, as you said, like it really did come down to that engagement, taking it right inside the push and overcharge and everything. But GG gets called, PiLiPiLi taking game number 1 and giving himself a bit of a lead in the series.
Yep. Yes. The overlay automatically updated.
Hey, nice.
Hey. Okay, so that will give AsWell the map choice. Ooh, there's like a new song in the background. You guys hear this? It's like almost like Stranger Things kind of haunty spooky. It's weird. So I guess for people that don't know, because I very rarely pay attention to like when these updates happen unless their balance changes, because like who cares, right? But apparently the map makers got a bunch of new stuff.
Oh.
And apparently there's a new
like
soundtrack.
A new Monster Cat song or something.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, I can't hear it.
No, it's in the game. So, yeah, there's new soundtrack for whatever reason, which is very surprising because I thought they only did that for expansions. But, and then they updated the interface
in a bunch of random places. Like,
yeah.
I think you were talking about like extension mods and stuff, which is a little bit different. But even when you like send me an invite to the game, I saw like it wasn't drastically different, but like just the gloss on the actual invite looked a little bit different. Like everything just seems to be slightly tweaked and made to look a little bit cooler and better. Yeah. Also, I think that we're set to be in an Archon mode game.
Yes, so this is one thing that Blizzard definitely fucked up. I am using harsh language for a reason, but I guess like this took me like years to figure out, but like when you upload maps, there's actually a default upload, so sometimes that's why we'd have game speeds on fast during like the map tournament and stuff. So apparently Blizzard forgot to change their default category to melee, which is very annoying. Whatever.
Well, maybe this is their way of subtly telling people, no, you should really try out Archon mode. Like this is a new thing that you could do.
Yeah, that's you're probably right about that. I got my cat, so it matches my shirt.
Oh.
He's been so...
I'm really grateful that you just handle like creating the lobbies and everything. My hand has been hurting lately, so I'm like really grateful that all I had to do is like hit accept, and then I just put myself on your vision. I'm like, cool, now I can just observe and not use my hand.
Yeah, that's usually what I do with Rifkin, because, of course, I have all of these problems, but I have learned to, what's the word, like...
Cope?
not like cope or deal with, but actually like make it good enough
Manage.
to last. Yeah, I guess manage. I was going for like mitigate or
Minimize.
something.
Yeah, mitigate.
Yeah,
Mitigate damage.
so that usually like this isn't so bad, but it is like something that like yeah, I probably won't be streaming for that long after or something like that. It sucks though, like and I had this so early on, it started affecting me when I was like 22 or something like that, that I hear like you and then Tasteless also made a tweet about his hands and I'm like, oh no, everyone's getting old, everyone's gonna feel my pain. Suck it, losers. Nah, just kidding about that part. Game number 2 in the top left as the red Protoss. He is up 1 and he's PiLiPiLi.
And in the bottom right, we have the green Protoss player from Invictus Gaming. Give it up for the Chinese AsWell, also known as Rush Crazy.
Yeah. I agree about the name too, by the way. Like Rush Crazy, it's not exactly. It's definitely like a foreign name, you know, just pick 2 words and combine them together. But I think it's a more fun name than AsWell, which is like, what even is it? Well as anything
AsWell's
else, I
secret
guess.
cousin.
Yeah. Oh, Ryung has already advanced to the bracket. He's gonna face Yulzing,
Nice.
who we have seen in the bracket before. I don't think is up to Ryung, but we'll see. Dude, I think there's like a spider or like a demon or something next to me because my cat just like is staring at something. Shit.
Those are 2 very different things. There's like a spider or a demon.
Well, you know, man, like
Next.
they just like stare at the wall and you check. There's like no spider, so you're like, okay, what the hell are you looking at? And it's just like, well, it's probably a demon, right? Because like cats are like guardians of the underworld or some shit. Man, I swear to God, you better protect me.
Cats are guardians of the underworld? Are you talking about like Anubis?
Yeah, so I guess not the underworld, the afterlife. That's what I was looking for. Whatever.
Gotcha.
Whatever. It's like the same
You know what I
idea,
just
multiple
realized?
mythologies. What?
This is totally unrelated to anything you're talking about, but this is PvP, so nothing actually matters until the first 2 Adepts / Stalkers pop out. But if you look at the top gas geyser for PiLiPiLi, you notice that inside the little window, the gas like moves backwards.
But yeah, it's like being.
It moves like to the backside of the simulator. But then the probes grab it somehow, even though they're like coming in from the front. That's nonsensical.
Well, maybe it's supposed to time out with the probe, but they didn't actually. Yeah, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, yeah, because it's on the
Yeah.
opposite side. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't work.
It always goes from front to back.
Okay, well, that's, you know, and along with, like, look at the health, am I right? That's another thing that Blizzard has to fix. God darn
The
it.
health is fine.
The health is
450
not
health
fine.
is not that much.
Plus 450 shields.
Yeah, but we have to deal with immortal harassment.
No. It was, well, we had to deal with tanks and bio drops, and it was just so hard to get gas. Ugh. And Wings of Liberty. Stupid Protoss.
Look, I mean, we have to send a probe there, and we lose mining time when the probe is being sent to the gas geyser for those couple of
SCV
seconds.
has to build the gas geyser. Let's just
Hashtag
calm
triggered.
down. Let's just calm down with that.
We did have an adept opening from PiLiPiLi, and PiLiPiLi is generally one that I feel like he mixes up the adept and stalker openings, but I really do think that he loves his adepts just across every matchup. So I'm usually a bit more surprised when he goes for the stalker opening. But even though he doesn't really get a whole lot of damage done with the adepts, and he's going to be able to make it out there with one of them, the big thing is that you get some scouting information off. You get to see, okay, my opponent will open up with a stalker opening. I'm probably going to feel a little bit safer about like dealing with something like an oracle, because generally if you're going for the oracle openings, you're going to go for the adepts because they cost less gas. You can get out that Stargate a little bit faster. But AsWell is just still going to go for the oracle, or like the Stargate at least. It's just going to be a slightly later one.
Yeah, it's a bit odd to see this, plus the pylon for an attack again. That's where I'm really like, oh, okay, so he's gonna have to afford both of those. So, if like neither of them work, the attack is denied, plus like this oracle that's gonna come out is gonna get denied. I feel like he's really set the mid-game PvP back a ways for himself.
I think this is like a mind game. This is like a really big mind game. I'm actually going to be surprised if he continues to warp from stalkers. I think that he just wants to force PiLiPiLi to be like, I did this to you last game and I almost won over there, or I did a lot of damage, you better be prepared, and then he's just never going to warp any more stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely shouldn't with the defense as well. Like, if you're
Yeah.
winning because they forgot to put pylons down, then okay, I guess you can warp in more stalkers. But he had 2 pylons this time. Well, AsWell did get a sentry just like last game. It still was not enough to push past. So he actually retreats entirely. And that, I guess, you know, better that than losing your stalkers because you weren't paying attention. Oh, and an adept was some... I don't think it killed any probes.
Yeah.
It killed 1 probe.
No, it didn't kill him. Well, it killed like maybe 1. But that's it.
Yeah, okay, that was weird. But that, like, if it, you know, at least keep the army here so that this Oracle can go in the back and hope the Militia Corps wasn't returned yet, which she is just in the middle. So, I mean, not quite late, but not as early as it could have been. The Oracle might get some probe damage.
Yeah, it should be able to get at least like 2 or 3 worker kills, and there we already
Wow.
see 2 worker kills.
Surprised went for the natural, knowing that that's probably where the army was. Not that it was a very big army, but now it goes into the main base, and the Militia Corps hasn't moved, so... Hey,
Ooh.
more probes.
That's a bit of a mistake for PiLiPiLi, losing a lot more workers.
Yeah.
Now he's falling behind almost 7-8 workers.
Yeah, almost lost another one if it wasn't for the energy running out. And the Oracle gets away too, which I think is a big slap in the face. That's going to come back later. That was quite bad. That does put him 8 probes less and a full Nexus now. AsWell's Nexus is almost done. I mean, PiLiPiLi did fine kind of catching up last game with that. So he provided a little bit of pressure, and then eventually, of course, he took that really good engagement, which really put the game in his favor. But he does have to find that kind of pressure again and hope to recover that way.
Yeah, I mean, PiLiPiLi, he is going for an all-out pressure build. He's not taking a 3rd expansion, and he's made 7 warp gates. He completely skipped or actually he didn't totally skip a robo because he still got out the warp from the observer. But this is supposedly just going to try and end the game right here, right now, if not do a lot of damage. The Oracle makes it back into the natural expansion, kills off 2 more workers, and that forces PiLiPiLi to leave a couple stalkers back at home. That really does hurt his push a little bit more.
Yeah, but he still has this really nice army supply. AsWell did, you know, significantly cut into what could have been a better army by going for first these stalkers that aren't really helping out that much now, as well as that Oracle that did a lot of great damage but can't really come back and help either. So it's really just about the pylons. Only 1 left. Force fields are about to disappear.
Well, there's another Photon Overcharge available after this one expires, so PiLiPiLi has got to fight in that Photon Overcharge, which is never an ideal spot. Force Field's still acting pretty well over here for AsWell. He's just keeping some of the Adepts out of the fight for a long time, but that Immortal DPS is just so much to deal with. Probes being pulled off the line, but Probes versus Resonating Glaive Adepts, no way is that going to work.
It doesn't look like it. Stalkers are going down very quickly to that Immortal, and I think PvPiLi has just about done it. Yeah, big warping of Adepts coming in here. AsWell might have +1 on the way and his own Resonating Glaives, but just not enough of an army. Yeah, you go,
Force Field
Oracle.
is only nice to some extent when you're dealing with Adepts that just will be able to shade through the Force Field.
GG.
GG. PiLiPiLi takes a 2-0, moves on to the next round of face-off versus Alive slash whoever Alive was playing, which I guess was Punk.
Yeah.
Some Punk.
Some punk, I don't know. Honestly, it's like Apollo like got off my lap during the game and then made it back just in time for the camera. It's like he knew.
Oh.
Oh, you juggle. So that's probably what we're going to be waiting on, unless it takes like 20 more minutes. I'd be very surprised if it did. Because we're going to see Alive versus PiLiPiLi once again. It's going to be a rematch of one of the Olimoleague monthlies. That's what I was looking for. So it'll be kind of fun to watch. But we'll get back to you guys after this short break. See you soon.